So hey
Hi,
everybody, welcome to Live from the Owl's Nest. I'm Jamie,
I'm Alicia.
and together we're Royal Wise Computer Software, specializing in QuickBooks Online, Microsoft Office products, and all
All things
things
Apple.
Apple. All right, so big news. We've got a big thing that happened, so
Got
let's
some
jump
huge
right into it and see what
news.
Alicia's got to share with everybody.
I just found out today that the book that I've been working on for the last year has finally been published. Yay! So I've been doing some writing for QuestivaConsultants.com, and they are a textbook publisher, and we have a series of textbooks that were based on Doug Sleater's a perennial book on QuickBooks Desktop, and I just spent the last year rewriting it and turning it into a QBO textbook, and it just came out. So if you go to QuestivaConsultants.com, there is the book. There's actually going to be two books. The fundamentals book was published today, and that's a classroom textbook specific to learning QuickBooks Online, mapped to the Certiport certification test, and it takes you through all the fundamental workflows all the way up through reporting. And it even has a capstone project and live hands-on work. And so what's cool about these books is that they're step by step by step, where it says like click on this and you click on this, and it says type this and you type this, and it really like teaches all the hands-on along the way. So I built in as many real life scenarios into it as I can. And then due at the sometime in March is the complete version, which is the same fundamentals book, but then it also has additional chapters for projects, inventory, and payroll, and also complex file setups and year-end procedures. And so I'm super excited for the complete version to come out. So this has been a labor of love since I started last May. And so we're like almost coming up on a year. Over 700 hours of writing have gone into this project, and I'm just absolutely delighted. And so for those of you who are watching this, there's a lot of Easter eggs in the book. There's a lot of names of the accounting professionals that you know and love in our community. So like as you're reading, you're like, wait, I know them, I know them, I know them. And so it's, I did that to keep myself entertained over those 700 hours over a year, because every time I see one of the names, it made me giggle. So that's my really super exciting news.
Congratulations.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad that one's
Thank
almost done. I'm
I'm
sure
sure
we'll find something else
I
to,
was literally just about to say that in those words. I'm sure I'm going to find something else to
here
do.
comes the next big thing.
Right.
Well, great. Congratulations.
Thank you very,
Super
very much.
proud of you. Maybe we'll see you at the dinner table sometime this year.
I would love to dine with you.
Oh, you're allowed to eat this year. That's really cool. Fun. Well, for me, I don't know. Funny. It's like with the Apple stuff, it's still a computer a day. I open a brand new computer and set it up for a client almost every single day. We've had a lot of iMac, 24-inch iMacs coming out. We're starting to see the 16-inch MacBook Pros with the M1 Max and Pro processors. I think we might even have put an order in for our own company.
There is one in the mail to me right now.
We'll see if Alicia or maybe even Jeff will get one. We'll see. We'll see if we can give Jeff a little treaty there. But the only rumors that we really have coming up is that we are expecting an Apple announcement event on March 8th, I believe it is. It could always be a different day, but normally the beginning of that week is what we would be looking at. And what we're expecting are 27-inch iMac Pros. So they're going to be bringing the 27-inch iMac back with the M1 Pro and the M1 Max chip available. I assume they're also going to put in the HD camera and all the super cool stuff they put in the 24-inch iMac. So we're super excited about that. The other rumors are a updated Mac Mini with the newer M1 chips, and also, I believe, a MacBook Air that's not going to just the M1, but would be going up to M1 Pro, M1 Max, which I don't know why we need a Max chip and a Air computer, but hey, mix it up, do what you got to do, right? But we have seen delivery times coming down. I guess that's the other news that I have. Is every iMac we've ordered, they have said it's going to be 4 or 5 weeks. Then we get another notice that says it's only going to be 3 weeks, and then it comes a week later.
Nice.
So every single iMac
what we expect to happen,
every iMac we've ordered has come within 2 weeks, even though they told us to expect a 5-week wait. So don't trust those delivery times. They're not real. They're just not real.
Well, I'm happy that maybe I'll have my computer tomorrow.
Oh, no. MacBook Pro's totally different situation. No,
okay.
I don't know. There's a really good chance they're going to be ahead of schedule too.
That would be awesome.
We're good to see the supply chain coming through on that stuff for our Apple users.
Yeah, I had some fun trying to decide which computer chip to get, whether to get the regular Pro or to get the Max. And we actually like calculated like for the speed of the processor and the amount of money that we had to add for that processor, how much time would it save us in rendering these videos, and what was the break-even point? And we discovered, and I realized that if it saves us 22 hours in rendering time over the life of the computer, then it was worth us upgrading. And so we went for it. So Jeff's going to get a Max.
Well, sure. Yeah, your math is impeccable. I'm sure all that's completely true and real. Doesn't really matter. Spend the money, get the good computers.
Always get the biggest computer that you can afford to get at any given time, because that'll just extend the life of it longer and you'll be able to keep it longer.
I'm gonna kind of hold you off on that a little bit as far as always get the biggest computer. That's
I don't mean
very
size.
vague.
I mean like
you
the
might
most
need
power.
a 13-inch, well, but that's not true too. And we had this conversation about the M1 Pro and the M1 Max chips. The biggest difference between these new processing chips, the M1 chip has an 8-core CPU and an 8-core GPU. So that's 8 cores for computer processing, 8 cores for graphic processing. When you go to the M1 Pro, you still only have 8-core CPU, but you go up to 16-core GPU. So you've got twice as many graphical processors. And in the M1 Max, you have 32 GPU, but still only 8 CPU. So the 8 CPUs are between 8 and 10 on all the models. The CPU doesn't change at all. It's only the graphical processor goes from 8 to 16 up to 32 as you move up the ladder.
So if you're doing a lot of things with video and images, then a GPU is worth it.
If you are generating, what did you say?
GPU.
I don't know what that's. GPU, the GPU. That's not a thing either. If you are rendering video, if you are doing 3D modeling, right? If you are creating video games and trying to render 3D environments, these are where the M1 Max chip is going to shine, right? If you are editing photos, even anything that you need high, but it's graphical refresh, things like you play a lot of video games. The M1 Max is going to be great for video game players. And Apple's never been known as a great video game platform, but with Swift on the mobile devices and the processing of the graphics,
no more lag,
right? But if you are just a regular person that's going on the internet to do email and Safari and watch YouTube, you may not need an M1 Max chip, right? Okay, so just spend your money on more RAM, get a bigger hard drive maybe, but I don't think in the processor realm that stands true to go big or go home.
And my gaming days are behind me now. I just spend all my time writing. So
well, we always end this section by saying, if you don't know and you want some guidance, give me a call, shoot me a text. Let's set up a little half-an-hour screen share. I'm happy to go over what's available and how does it match how you use your machine, because that's really what's important, is how do you use the machine and what's going to satisfy your needs the most. Right. Okay, what's going on over there now?
So other things happening in my world. Yesterday, I hosted Kathy Grosskirth and we did an Accounting 101 class, and it was great. Debits and credits, you've already heard me geeking about stuff. There's some more stuff to geek out about, but I actually figured out through Kathy's help how to do debits and credits in my head instead of looking at the big chart that I have on my wall. So that was super cool. So if you are a bookkeeper who knows how to use QuickBooks really well, but you don't know what's happening in the transaction journal behind the scenes, this class is still available. We're going to post the link down in the comments, and we're working on editing the videos, and they will be available hopefully tomorrow. Next month's guest instructor is Linda Artisani, who will be talking about QuickBooks Online for law and trust accounting. And so we'll have that course available for registration very, very shortly. And then the thing that I'm, geeky as always, really looking forward to is I haven't taught my Excel classes since 2019. And so I'm going to do a series of 3 hours of beginning Excel, starting with a blank spreadsheet, then going into 3 hours of intermediate Excel, where we go into VLOOKUPs and all kinds of fancy formulas. And then so that was March and then April. And then in May, I'll be doing the pivot tables class. And so you can take any one of the classes, or if you buy the introductory and the intermediate classes, then you get the pivot tables class for free.
For free?
For free.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so if you would like to learn how to use Excel, especially if you're a beginner, this is going to be an excellent introduction, because I really believe in practical skills, not just like the boring basics, but like things that you can actually put to work immediately in the workplace.
Wow. Well, speaking of basics, I've got some classes coming up starting tomorrow. I'm doing my Mac OS All the Basics series, and that's for people using desktop and laptop Apple computers. Mac OS is the operating system. So tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we're doing All the Basics Part 1, where we really start at the foundation. And then next week, we're going to do Part 2, where we go a little bit deeper, get a little bit more intermediate with things like how to use a trackpad and Magic Mouse. Where did Save As go? All sorts of stuff like that. And then week 3 is going to be file management. Where do I put it? What do I call it? Right? All the things that you need to be a good file manager. And I love that class because it doesn't just apply to your file system or your file structure. Once you learn the concepts, take it into email and look at your folder structure there. Go into Photos, look at your album structure there. All these concepts are just how to think about organizing. And once you've got that solid, then you can take it into every aspect of your computer.
Awesome. Hey, Pat's here. Hey, Pat. Pat, did you just hear the announcement? The textbook was just published. So the Questiva Consultants book is out. So head over to questivaconsultants.com and see what I'm up to. Pat is the author of the QuickBooks Online textbooks for Labyrinth Learning. So she and I write books together. So I'm really glad that your timing is perfect.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, those are my classes, and then come after that, we're going to be doing some photos, Apple Photos classes. So 5 hours over 2 weeks of all you need to know about photos, organizing, editing, sharing, projects, all sorts of fun stuff. So if you've got a big photo library and you want to learn all the ins and outs of how to leverage the photos library so you don't have to work so hard, facial recognition and the GPS locations and all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, there was a time when I would go into my photos and I would keep track of all of my photos and get everything labeled. And I've just been so busy that right now I literally have thousands of photos. So would this class help me be able to actually find the photo I'm looking for?
Very much so. You
Yeah.
know, I think a lot of people don't realize how evolved Photos has become since, excuse me, since iPhoto went away. We already had some facial recognition and stuff like that, but now a couple of features are like you don't have to apply your own keywords sometimes because Photos knows what a tree is. And so you can just type in tree in the search and it'll bring all the photos that have trees in them or sunsets,
Really?
you know, or water, or you can just type in water and all of the photos that have water in the background will show up. And even if you search for tree, it'll be like, oh, Christmas tree versus palm tree versus pine tree. And you don't have to do that labeling anymore. It just recognizes these right in dog, and you see all your dog pictures.
Really? So I can find that picture of Radar wearing the bow tie that I like so much?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
No promises, but yes.
I wonder if I can search for bow tie.
Maybe. I don't know if it knows what a bow tie is, or especially not a bow tie on a dog, but
Right.
you know. The most hopeful person on the planet, everybody. Alicia Katzbalik. Yay. So no, Photos class is going to be great.
Awesome.
Okay, you got anything else coming up too?
No, that's pretty much for me. So if you head over to royalwise.com and click on the calendar, you can see both Jamie's and my upcoming classes. You can also hit us up to ask questions about anything that you want to know. We are always here to help.
And I also want to give a big thank you to all of my students and clients who came to my Zoom reunion class over the last 2 weeks. We did our Zoom reunion from teaching everybody how to use Zoom to getting a quarantine. Everybody came back and told some great touching stories about how Zoom changed their life and made quarantine not worth it, but improve their quarantine life. And then we had some technical glitches the first week. So we did a second week. We did the Zoom reunion redo, had even more people come, had a great time, and loved to really just get to see people and have them even meet each other. A lot of times when you come to our classes, it's a webinar format and you don't actually get to see the other students. So we did it as a meeting and had everybody come and share where they live, what their names are, and tell some stories. And so it was super fun. I want to thank everybody that was out there, and I plan on doing more of those social events just so that we can make sure that we're connected.
Yeah, no, it's really important to foster community. And I love that we have a community of Apple users and we have a community of QuickBooks users, and that we get to kind of keep everybody close to our hearts.
All righty. Well, with that, thanks for coming to Live from the Owl's Nest. I'm Jamie.
I'm Alicia.
And we'll see you in class.
See you in class.